Thank you, Mr. President. I thank the senator from Georgia for those very moving and powerful remarks. I would differ with him only in recognizing that that saying about digging the hole is not only a Southern saying, but I think by now it's a national saying, thanks to my Southern colleagues and others. Let me just say about this debate, it has been very eloquent on both sides, but there is an unreality to it. In the real world, Americans are struggling to find jobs or keep them, striving to stay in their homes, working hard to keep their families together. In the real world, economic growth has to be a priority, and we are on the verge of a failure of action that threatens the fragile economic recovery that right now is a priority for most Americans. And it is unnecessary. We are truly in danger of distracting ourselves from what should be the main task and the central reason that we should be seeking a budget here, which is to fund the federal government for the remainder of this year and assure that we continue economic growth and provide more jobs for the American people. There is agreement on the numbers, on the dollars, on the figures for spending in the remainder of this year. My colleague from Georgia has just confirmed what others have said on this floor repeatedly, what the majority leader said this morning. There is agreement on the cuts and the savings. The distraction is on an ideological war on women's health. A small minority, a very small minority, is holding this budget and this nation hostage in this ideological war on women's health. And that is a disservice to the American people who want us to go back to basics, jobs and the economy, get a budget done, avoid a shutdown that threatens that fragile recovery. Again and again on this floor, my colleagues have made the point that uncertainty and unpredictability are an enemy to the small businesses and large in this country and elsewhere in the globe who count on American leadership, count on our leadership in achieving a budget. This war on women's health care cannot be allowed to succeed. And I have spoken about it along with other senators who have spoken again on this floor, most recently the senator from New Hampshire, who has been a leader on this issue, along with the senator from California, Barbara Boxer, Senator Gillibrand, Senator Franken, Senator Lautenberg, Senator Mikulski, others who have spoken out in favor of Title X and Planned Parenthood funding. The unreality of this debate reflects a failure to appreciate what these dollars mean to the women who depend on these services. They are women who can't afford the kind of screening for cancer and cholesterol and other problems that is so vital to preventing those problems that cost us all larger dollars if they go untreated. These services are vital to the testing for other kinds of problems that may be more expensive to treat if they are not dealt with. And of course, contraception that prevents exactly the kinds of problems or issues that many in this body have focused on. In Connecticut alone, we're talking about more than 60,000 patients served by Planned Parenthood, including 30,000 Title X patients, 18 health centers that are imperiled by this rider or the conditions that would be attached, almost 100,000 preventive screenings and testing that are vitally important to low-income women and men who need access. The key is access to contraceptive services and preventive screenings, vital health care. There is a silver lining to this cloud. This moment is teaching us something. It is, in reality, a teaching moment. I think it will alert a lot of Americans to the importance of preventive services, testing, screening. If it draws one more woman or man to seek these kinds of testing services, it will have accomplished something. But the debate over these social issues will not be resolved in this budget and should not be resolved in the remaining few hours that we have left. There will be other occasions when we can debate and resolve these social issues, the ideological divides that have been with us for decades and will remain after this budget, hopefully, is resolved in the next few hours. My hope is that there will be other teaching moments, but most important, not only about healthcare, but about the way the democratic process works. In the short months that I've been privileged, and I deeply mean privileged, to be part of this body, and sometimes to preside in the very chair where the president is now, I've often looked around this chamber and seen the students and others who come to visit us and thought of the millions of Americans who are watching us and who hope that we will recognize that we have more in common than in conflict as Americans. Recognize that a shutdown of this government cannot happen consistent with our duties to seek what we have in common over what we have in conflict. That it would be devastating not only to American leadership around the globe, to the military men and women who are depending on our judgment and leadership, to the veterans, to the folks out there searching for jobs, trying to stay in their homes, keep their families together, recognizing that the reason they sent us here is to do what's right for this economy now and to reach agreement and to do those kinds of things that Americans do in their homes over that kitchen table. When they disagree, they come together. They seek what they have in common. They don't walk out of the house. They don't shut off the lights. They stay together, and they do what they think will best serve the common interest, which is to recognize we have an agreement on the budget numbers. We cannot be distracted by the ideological war on women's health, and we should stay true to our principles. Thank you, Mr. President.